Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Spill the Beans, and today I'm sitting down with Jeff Townsend. He is a local real estate investor, buy and hold, has a portfolio of buy and hold property, and does a bunch of flips in the high six figures. Is kind of what they net on an annual basis. So doing some big things and actively in the trenches in multiple facets in the real estate world right now. And I'm excited to sit down with him. I've actually never met him before other than communicated through social media. So I'm excited to sit down with him and hear a little bit more about his entrepreneurial journey and how he's doing as much business as he's doing and what he's seeing kind of in the marketplace. So let's go sit down with Jeff. Jeff, what's up, man?
What's going on, Tim?
Dude,
how's it going?
Dude, I'm doing great, man. Welcome to Spill the Beans. I appreciate you reaching out. I put a post out. I said, hey, who's some rock star entrepreneurs in the Charleston area that I can sit down with and talk to about real estate and business and scaling and growth and lifestyle and all those other things. And you were cordial enough to reach out, man. We got connected, shot some messages back and forth. Finally get to meet in person, and I'm excited to hear your story, man. So tell me a little bit about how you became an entrepreneur, how you got started, what that journey has looked like over the course of the past several years.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was in the military for about 6 years. Always been interested in real estate probably since high school. Mm-hmm. Got out, went to school for engineering.
You said you graduated in 2010?
I got out of
the military
in 2010. I graduated high school in 2004.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're about the same age.
Yep. Yeah, man. So just always been interested in real estate, more so buy and hold side. Mm-hmm. And just in 2015, just started acquiring some rental properties.
Yeah. So your background's in engineering, right?
Yep.
So you went to the military. You were in the military for 6 years, came out, and did you have a job in engineering before you came here, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then you came here about 8 years ago, you said,
Yep.
2014.
Yep.
Work up at one of the major companies here in Charleston, and then started investing.
Yep.
So bought your first property when?
In 2015.
2015. So what was the market like? How did you, tell me about your first deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually my first deal was a primary residence I used the VA loan on. And it's crazy, man, how much the market's changed in the past 7 years.
It's insane. Totally different.
Yeah, the first property
Two different sides of the spectrum.
It's crazy. Bought it for $160, lived in there for about a year. It's now renting out for $2,000 a month. And
good
then,
cash flow?
Yeah, really good. And then met my wife, 2014, and she had her own place. So rented that out and then bought a place together and just started from there, started burn properties. Man,
So those were the two. And your primary investment strategy has been the BRRRR method, at least up until you started flipping a couple of years ago, right?
Yep.
So how long were you looking at real estate? How long were you analyzing? Because you're an engineer, right? Usually I'm actionable to a fault where I'm just like, yeah, let's just jump and we'll figure out where we're going to land on the way down, you know?
Right.
A lot of the engineers that I know and the engineering mindset are analyze, never take action,
Yeah.
right? Because we're trying to find ways to just kill deals nonstop. And, probably the answer is somewhere in between, or a partnership of having both of those personalities. So that way somebody can push, somebody can analyze, and you can kind of balance each other out. So that's what I have with my team is my boy Matt Carlin, who's my COO, is very analytical and be like, dude, let's think about a couple of these things first.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, let's go. This is a great deal. He goes, you didn't look at this. You didn't underwrite that. You didn't, let's scope the plumbing lines. And I'm like, yeah, I guess we should do some of those things. So we balance each other very, very well. How long were you looking at deals or looking at real estate or educating yourself on real estate before you actually pulled the trigger on something?
So I'd say it took me probably about 50 podcasts and 10 books before I started. Like I would overanalyze everything, man. Like, what if this happens? What if this happens? And just finally jumped into it. It's probably about a year after educating myself.
But the first purchase was your primary residence,
yes.
Your own home. So then met your wife, decided why not just sell both houses and then go buy a new house? Like, what really got you intrigued on making it a rental property?
Yeah, so we're both...
Or how did the analytical process look like in order to say, hey, this is the best financial decision we should make?
Yeah, absolutely. So always been interested in cash flow. So we're like, hey, if we could rent this and make $500 on top of our mortgage, why not do that?
Yeah.
So
I'm getting principal pay down, which a lot of people don't, they just look at the cash flow and they're like, oh, it's not worth it. But you're also getting principal pay down and you're getting property appreciation over time. So if you really look at what the return on equity is, it's usually a lot more than selling the property, taking the cash and putting it somewhere else. Because, dude, you got closing costs, you got income taxes on it, you got the issue of, I know this deal right here, right? I'm intimately familiar. I lived in the house versus selling and then rolling the money into something else that I'm not aware of, that I don't know what could be hiding underneath the surface or inside the walls. And there's an intangible value on top of everything else that I think a lot of people don't pay attention to when they're looking at, do I buy, do I sell, do I hold, do I whatever. Got some text messages from a kid the other day, hey, I bought my primary residence, should I sell it? I can cash out $40,000. I was like, is it a good area? Is it a good house? Does it rent easily? Is it cash flow positive? He's like, yeah, but I can get 40 grand off, plus my down payment money. I was like, dude, you don't get rich, you don't build wealth by selling real estate.
Exactly.
You get wealthy by buying good real estate and holding it as long as you possibly can.
Yep.
Right? That's how you build wealth. And so if you can sit on this property over the next 30 years and it's owned free and clear and it doubles in value, and you pay it all off, dude, and now it's cash flowing like crazy. You got something to pass down to the kids. You got something to pass down to your estate. Like, that is how wealth is built. And, oh, well, how do I have all this equity that's built. Throw a mortgage on there and pull it out tax-free instead of selling it and paying taxes on it. So, it's just one of those things, man. If you got good property, well located, in good shape, or you fully renovated it, always want to hold that property as long as you possibly can.
For sure. Plus all the tax benefits.
Exactly. Depreciation and everything else. The write-off of the interest and everything else that comes with it. So, all right. So now you got 2 rental properties.
Yep.
I'm not going to say you fell into it because you were intentional, but it wasn't a business yet.
Exactly.
Right? So you got 2 rental properties. You go and buy a new home with your wife. You're working an engineering job. She's still working an engineering job, right?
Yep, correct.
Now how do we start turning this into a business?
So just, got addicted to it. Like, loved the cash flow, saw the appreciation.
Not as difficult as maybe we thought it was or built it up to be in our head, right?
Yep, exactly. So we just started buying houses off market with our own cash and burning them.
I love it, man. And so you guys just bought it with your own cash. Didn't have hard money, didn't have private money?
Right, no, just paid our own cash and burned the proprities and refinanced.
How long does it take to save up enough money to then go and buy something with cash? I've never done it, dude.
Yeah, it depends, like, obviously how much you make, but we had a decent amount of money in the bank after a couple years. So
you had a couple 6-figure salaries, I'd assume, in the engineering world. You're both living below your means because you're paying attention to the expense line, right?
Yep.
And making sure that you're saving as much as humanly possible. And you're both engineering mindsets, so you're very analytical of that. You know exactly how much you're saving every single month, I'd assume. And then after a couple years of that, you're saving up enough. The market was still good in 16 and 17 where you can go out and buy properties with cash, that not these inflated prices that we've seen over the past couple of years. So you go out, and what's the portfolio look like fast forward over the past 5 years, 6 years since then?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have right now 12 single families in a 4-unit downtown historic Charleston off East Bay Street.
Yeah.
Got that in 2019 off market, and it's doubled in value since.
What would you say the value is of your portfolio today?
It's about $6 million.
About $6 million amongst 13 properties, 16 units total, right?
Yep.
It's fantastic because some people would be like, oh, well, I own 13 single-family houses in East Cleveland, and they're each $20,000 a piece. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't compare apples to apples. I think it's really important to understand the market that you're in. Downtown historic Charleston is a amazing location. Property values going up, tons of demand there, and so there's real value. How have you been able? Like, I come from Cleveland originally, and then moving to Charleston, the difference in values is so different, right?
Yep.
You're from Pennsylvania, so you kind of know. Where it's like, in the Midwest, values don't go up, but properties cash flow. So you buy for cash flow. If you get a little bit of appreciation, or you force appreciation by putting sweat equity in, that's where the real value add comes in. you're in one of these major markets or someplace where people are moving, if you're in Florida or you're in Charleston or you're in California or Vegas or Phoenix, and people are moving into those markets, it's just properties appreciate and they appreciate and they appreciate. And you're like, dude, when I come down to Charleston, I'm like, where the hell is all this money from? Like, where do people come up with all this cash that doesn't exist where I come from or where I was investing initially? And maybe it's just different seasons of my investing career. How have you looked at this market and said, hey, these are things that I should buy and hold, these are things that I flip, because now you're flipping real estate too, and how do you differentiate between the two of those things?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we were buying and hold, I would buy 65% ARV off market minus repairs. So we were buying them at 60 to 65% ARV.
Is that why 65%? Because that's what it said in a book? Or that's what your financing LTV was at? Or that's the amount of money that you needed to make whenever you go to sell the property? Or
yeah,
what?
So we like to be at that number because when we refinance, we'll be about 70 to 75% ARV when we refinance. So at that 65%, we found, hey, we can still cash flow and we can get more than 100% of our money back after 6 months.
Yep.
Because they base it off the appraised value. So it's been working.
So as long as you
fantastic.
could buy properties in that, and then you could refinance it for more than what well, you guys were buying it cash, right? So
Yeah.
you didn't have hard money. Now you're using hard money
For the flips,
for some flips. But are you guys still just stockpiling your own cash and throwing it into the BRRRRs?
No. So at this point,
Are you getting long-term financing now from banks?
Yes. Yep. And at this point, we're stacking the cash to dump into commercial.
Okay.
That's our goal in the future.
Got it. So why did you pivot? If you're buying and holding properties and you're loving that and you're doing the BRRRR method, why did you pivot a couple years ago into flipping houses?
So our goal in the flipping was always to gain capital to dump into commercial. Kind of our mindset was, hey, you need 25% down payment to get into commercial. Now it's doing a lot of research. Mastermind is like, hey, we don't need that much money to get into it at all. That's kind of why
I built 4,000 doors, putting 125 grand of my own money in as an LP.
That's awesome.
Now I had cash set aside because I needed to sponsor loans, so I needed a certain amount of liquidity, and I needed, there's always a need for like operating capital.
Yeah.
Right? So I'd infuse a few $100,000, a couple $1 million, get it paid back, and so like I used my money for that because it was quick needs, in and out, that kind of thing. You don't have to deal with unsecured loans and interest rates from hard money lenders and in the 18%, 20% range.
Yeah.
So it's like I just use my own cash for that kind of stuff. But it's assumed that you're going to bring private money for the down payment when you're in the commercial game.
It is.
The banks assume that. So it's like it's a myth that you have to go out and stockpile all this cash in order to then go and buy commercial real estate.
It is.
You can just syndicate, bring on investors, carve up the deal. There's some people who don't give any of the equity up, and they just pay a higher interest rate to borrow the down payment money for a couple of years until they can refinance and essentially do the whole BRRRR method again.
Yep.
So, all right, so you're flipping houses, you're stockpiling cash from that, you're stockpiling cash from your job, you're BRRRRing the rentals. So what does the next 24 months look like for you? Like, what do you want to accomplish with now that you know that you can go out and raise private money? Have you ever raised money?
No, never. Just, other than hard money.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Do you have anybody who reaches out to you and you're like, do you ever take on investors? Can I put some money with you? Can we joint venture on a deal? Is there ever that conversation?
It's funny.
happening?
I need to start posting more, but like I'll post 4 flips, and I have people, hey man, how'd you do that? I want to get in, and so I've had a lot of people reach out to me
and say, hey, like, we can joint venture, we can partner up, you can lend money to me, and I'll give you a percentage of the deal. Yep. It's just easier. You can move faster. Like,
exactly.
I know you use Kelly's company, and they move very, very quickly. So, like, I think they're one of the best that you could possibly use on that side of things. But dude, sometimes there's a need in commercial where you need somebody to write a check. It's not secured, right? It's based on your reputation, maybe a personal guarantee on your part, where it's like, I need money right now in order to pay these bills that the management company didn't find or didn't put on the AP schedule the accounts payable schedule, and I needed $60,000 in order to pay this water bill or this utility bill, and you need to be able to pick up the phone and find somebody if you don't have your access to your own cash. So
Yep.
it's like you got to start planting those seeds. I don't think there's anything more important than really developing the relationships with private money as early as possible.
Exactly.
In this world.
And I'd say that's
this
our
game.
goal. Like, we're looking to scale. Single family is great. We're not going to be able to scale like we want to. Want to get to 100, 200 units in the next 2 years and really focus on raising that private capital.
Yep.
I'm really good at contracting. I'm really good at bidding. I'm really good at finding off-market deals.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can combine that with other people's private money, knowledge, and skills, I mean, it's a home run.
I love it, man. Now, and I think there's going to be some serious opportunities. And again, if you have access to capital right now, again, whether it's your own or bank lines of credit or private money or hard money relationships. I was sitting down with my buddy Whit McCarthy, who's like, dude, this hard money lender's out of business. This hard money lender's out of business. This hard money's out. And it's
Damn.
like, dude, they're all going belly up. Like all these hard money lenders, all these financiers and mortgage companies are going out of business because they didn't manage their cash properly.
Yep.
And so the key is if you have all your eggs in one basket with one lender, and then all of a sudden they dry up because the economy has changed and they're not good business forecasters, then dude, you're gonna be in a tight spot. So like,
For sure.
I think that whole relationship capital piece where you got multiple people, private money lenders, hard money lenders, just tools in the arsenal of how to structure deals creatively, and going through a seller financing or installment contract or wrap mortgage or subject to mortgage or whatever, loan assumptions. Like there's so many different tools in the tool
Yep.
belt. But if you don't know what they are, dude, it's tough to do. But what I love about where you're at right now, man, is like if you put yourself in the right rooms, if you put yourself around the right people, there is zero reason. Like you have enough experience already. I can't take somebody personally like from no deals to 100 deals inside of a year. I think that's a very, very difficult stretch. But if you've got 10 rentals, there's no reason you couldn't get another 100 units every single year.
Yeah.
With a couple of just tweaks in relationships and insights on how to structure deals. Like that should be the bare minimum.
Yep.
Right? You should be collecting 100 units every single year for the next 10 years, be at 1,000 doors. And more what's more than likely to occur is you're gonna start doubling it every year. So you get 100 next year, you get 200 the year after that, you get 400 the year after that, and now you're already at close to 1,000 units. In 4 or 5 years, as opposed to 7 or 10
Right.
years. So it's like this stuff starts really compounding once you understand some of the fundamentals and again the relationship capital. You're in the right rooms, you're talking to the right people, and you got multiple arrows in the quiver.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it for sure.
No, I think it's awesome. So, as far as some of the commercial projects that you're looking at, what's the ideal opportunity that you're looking to deploy money into that you want? If you saw something that came across your desk right now, what would you pull the trigger on? What does that have to look like?
So for me,
As an analytical type, I want to know like how precise is it or not precise is it?
gotcha. Well, one thing, it's got to be a red state.
So is your portfolio only in South Carolina?
Right now it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying you would go out of state?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If the opportunity's there, for
Yep.
sure. For me, if it was, I'm looking for value add preferably. I just like fixer uppers.
Well, you could bring the value there. You
Yeah.
know, it's like where somebody else like me has to go and pay a premium to a contractor in order to go and do the value add. If you can get it done because you're GCing it yourself at 20% less, there's more room there.
Yeah.
You know, and you can make a deal happen now that somebody else can't.
Exactly. So value add, man, between 20 and 50 units. If I could be all in stabilized at 75% or less, that's kind of what I'm shooting for.
Dude, I think there's going to be those deals. Like I got a bank-owned apartment building that was sent to me a couple days ago. That's up bank-owned already. It's already starting, right? Like
Yeah.
I haven't seen bank-owned properties in, I'd say 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. It's
It's been a
crazy.
long time since I saw bank-owned properties that were hitting the market, and they're already starting. And I think there's only going to be more of them coming down the pipe. So it's, you know, some people see that as oh my gosh, the housing market's collapsing. Dude, I saw absolute fortunes built in the last downturn because people who were poised with the knowledge and the relationships and access to the capital who could go and take down those deals that nobody else could.
Yeah, man, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for sure.
Yeah, man. No, I think it's super exciting. So when you're talking about, hey, I got the job, right? I'm making good money over here. The real estate portfolio, you're at 15, 16 doors right now. What does it look like from a standpoint of, at what point do you make this decision to burn the ships and go all in on real estate, right? Like there's a lot of people who want to have the balls in order to go out and do that. Like at what point is it a numerical value? Is it's not painful enough anymore? Is it the passive income has to exceed the active income? Like at what point do you make the pivot and say, hey man, I built up this much wealth part-time. What if I dedicated full-time effort to it? What does that look like? Right? Yeah, I'm giving this up, and that's what everybody focuses on, but you're really giving up the opportunity cost to build your portfolio to 100 doors.
Exactly.
You know? I got my buddy Dave Benson, who had 100 doors, he's mid-40s maybe, worked in the banking industry, built up 100 doors on a part-time basis. I was like, dude, he wanted to join the mastermind. I was like, you're not allowed to show up if you have a job. Like you gotta quit your job before the mastermind. This is when I had like a $30,000 group. Now it's only $1,000 a month. But I was like, dude, you can't show up because nobody here has a job. Everybody in this mastermind is an entrepreneur. Yeah. And so he quit his job. Dude, in the next 12 months, he collected another 160 doors on top of the 100 that he already had.
That's awesome.
Dude, so it's like he burned the ships, and he didn't even realize that was possible until he got rid of the full time. So like for you, where's the cutoff? Yeah,
for me, I think 2023, I'm gonna maybe finish it out and go full time.
Okay, why? Like at what point? What's gonna change in 2023?
So I think, again, I would say for me, it was always, hey, if banks look at me and I have a W-2 job, I'm gonna be qualified for the loan because I've been getting 2-3% interest rate in the past. So I think for me that was a big thing. And also as far as the flipping side, like we'll probably make close to 7 figures this year flipping, and it's just like it can make my salary in one flip.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it makes no sense. So
dude, how has that not happened sooner?
Yeah.
Like why are you waiting a year?
Yeah.
Why do you think that you need to hold on to it? Like, especially because your wife's still working, there's still a level of stability there.
Yeah.
You don't think that you could replace your income, or like, how come you're still holding on to it?
I don't know, man. To be honest with you,
I'm here to bust your balls, dude. I'm gonna get you to quit your job on this this recording right now.
Honestly, I said at the end of 2023, no valid reason. I mean, just other than I want to be able to get financing for the properties, but
dude, bro, you don't need it.
Right.
I've never had a job. I am unemployable, and banks look at me, and I still get commercial loans. All right, because I have assets.
Yeah.
I have income, I have experience, and I have a balance sheet that's worth something.
Yep.
And you guys have that. You guys can go and take down 20 doors and a 20-unit apartment building and qualify for it right out of the gate.
Exactly.
You don't need a job for that.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that's more of a hindrance than when you get into commercial, because they'll be like, well, you're not even paying full-time attention to this thing, dude. Like, you got a job, it's like a secondary to you. I don't know if you're, I think you would be looked on more favorably if you ended up leaving the job and then going full-time. But again, you still have the safety net of having your wife's job.
Exactly.
And we're in the best employment age in the past, I don't even know, 15 years, where it's like, if you left in 6 months, if you didn't replace your income 10 times over by doing other flips and more acquisitions, do you think they'd hire you back?
I wouldn't go back.
Exactly.
Man, when I leave, that's it. Yeah.
But here's the good news. You could always get hired back,
right?
They'd be like, yeah, come on back. We need you, because that's how much demand there is for your role at companies like that. So it's like, dude, in my eyes, there is zero risk of loss. There's only risk of opportunity cost for your position.
No, you're right.
Right now.
Yeah. It's funny, I have everybody ask me, why are you still working?
Let's put in the 2 weeks.
I don't even need to, I'll just walk out right now.
Let's do it. Why are we doing this, man? If you retire from your job before the end of this year, I'll give you 3 months free in Legacy Family.
Nice.
It's got to happen this year, though.
Okay.
You gonna do it?
December 29th.
You gonna do it? I'll allow it.
Yeah, I might.
Not might, dude. You gotta do it. You gotta.
I do need to make the leap, man. I do. There's nothing holding me back.
What does your wife say?
She's all for it.
Dude,
Like,
what
dude-
are we doing?
Yeah.
Why are we even having this conversation?
Yeah.
Why do I need to convince you?
You don't. It's like, but it makes sense. Like, if I can do this, make 7 figures part time. Like, if I full time,
Bro,
what could I do?
There's people aghast right now who are watching this interview saying like, at what point? This is the analytical side, the thing that we were talking about, dude. And you're so good at that, you got to get out of your own way. You are your own bottleneck in that side.
For sure.
You got to just jump, dude. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I know, I've seen it hundreds of times. Every time I do a mastermind, somebody quits their job and they make double what they made the year before, at least.
Yeah.
Dude, it happens every single time like clockwork. If I didn't think you were capable, I wouldn't tell you to do it. But it's because I know what you're capable of, because you've already done it. You've proven the success. You've proven the track record. Dude, now it's just getting out of your own head and being like, all right, let's go.
For sure.
No, I'm serious, man. I'm serious. Let's make it happen.
Definitely.
How can I help?
Just, man, I don't know. Just being here and talking to you, following you is inspiring, man. Just,
No, we're gonna make this happen.
Looking to scale up.
Dude, we come across deals in South Carolina. Some of them don't meet our buying criteria because they're not big enough. Dude, I'll shuffle those over to you. You take down a couple of those. I have lending resources. I'll connect you with Whit. He does multifamily stuff. Obviously, Kelly does the rehab loans on that side with Rehab Wallet. They're all there. I got the mortgage officer. I got insurance guys. I got anything that you need, local attorneys, whatever, in order to start taking down some big commercial deals. I'll show you how to syndicate. You go out and raise some capital, and I'll show you how to take an acquisition fee. Go take down a $5 million deal and take a 2.5% acquisition fee. Dude, all of a sudden that's $125,000 of an upfront fee on top of the equity, on top of the cash flow, on top of the wealth that you're building, and your depreciation from that offsets the acquisition fees and the income that you're making elsewhere. So, dude, you need, especially if you're making 7 figures in the flipping business, and you're going to keep on doing that, you need more assets that you buy and hold to offset with the depreciation.
Oh, for sure.
Dude, that'll change your life, because not only, dude, you'll be saving more in taxes than you would make from your job.
Yeah.
Not only are you making more money,
absolutely.
but you're also saving more in taxes than what your job pays you as well, and you're building more wealth.
Yeah.
Dude, this is a no-brainer across the board.
I agree. For sure.
I don't think you're going to do it.
I am.
I don't think you're going to do it.
100%.
I don't think you could. You need to look in the camera and promise them
100%.
that you'll do it by the end of this year.
By the end of this year.
We're shaking on it. Yes,
That's it.
yes. Well, dude, it's been super fun. I'm excited to have you. Like I said, I'm going to have you in Legacy Family. I'll give you 3 months free if you quit your job. Give you access to all the resources, the whole team. Come out we're doing a big event in Puerto Rico in February. We'd love to have you there with the wife. And you guys plug in if you quit your job by December 31st.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
All
Appreciate
right.
it, man.
Appreciate you being here, dude.
Absolutely.
All right. Hopefully you guys got a ton of value out of that. You know, I like, this is a conversation that I have with a lot of people, is about why are you in your job? Like, if you have an amazing job, you have growth potential, and there's upside opportunity, yes, absolutely. If it aligns with what you're doing, you get a lot of value out of it. But for somebody who's in a stale job with no future growth potential, who doesn't really enjoy it, there's no fulfillment to that, and they're making substantially more money in a part-time business than they are in their full-time job, it's like, what are we doing, right? Why are we having this conversation? And I have this conversation a lot. There's a lot of people who just kind of, all of us are our own bottlenecks. And I think especially in a position where Jeff is, where he's got a cushy salary. He's been there a long time. He's making great money. He's got benefits and all that stuff. But guess what? He's making way more money, multiples more money in his part-time business than he is in his full-time job. It's like, can you imagine dedicating a full-time effort to that and what that can turn around at? And realizing that the downside risk is not nearly worth the loss of the upside potential. So if you know somebody who needs to hear this conversation, who's stuck in a dead-end job, who doesn't have the upward mobility in their company, and they don't fit the company core values, and they just don't like the culture, like, make sure that they see this video. Make sure that they see me giving Jeff a hard time because I care about him, because I know that he's meant for more than what he's doing right now, and I know what's around the corner, right? Like, he's going down the hallway. All he's got to do is just turn the corner. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and it is going to change his life forever. There's no reason that with his level of business acumen, resources that he's already got, there's no reason that he couldn't hit 100 units in the next 12 months, especially with the market that we're walking into. So I appreciate you guys being here. Please put your biggest takeaways in the comments section. Please share the video, like it, subscribe to the channel, and I'm excited to see you guys in the next episode of Spilling the Beans.